All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Kyle Davis with Avantio, and I've got with me Corinne O'Keefe from Breezeway.
Good morning. Well, good morning here. Good afternoon to you guys.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good night. The whole world is in the place. I think we had more than 100 people sign up to this course, so that's fantastic. Thank you all for taking the time to do so. Today's webinar is titled Professionalize Your Property Care and Operations in Travel's New Climate. We're going to kick off with introductions of myself and Corinne. And the idea of today is to show you a bit about Breezeway and how Breezeway helps professional property managers to organize their cleaning operations. Obviously, cleanliness is next to godliness, as they say, and cleaning has always been and always will be a vital part of hosting guests, you know, and never more so than in 2020. So I'm sure many of you have had to change and adapt your operations and how you clean, when you clean, who cleans. And, you know, the idea of today's call is to show you inside Breezeway and give you an insight into what it offers and how it could potentially help you manage your cleaning operations and maintenance tasks, etc. So once again, thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Davis. I'm an account manager here at Avantio. Some of you will know Avantio, some of you maybe not. Avantio is a software for professional property managers, and we have a property management system, a channel manager, and we also build websites, online booking websites for our clients. We have the pleasure of having a partnership with Breezeway. We have a full integration with Breezeway. And so we're able to pass the data between the booking to Breezeway for you to have that data inside Breezeway. So I've got with us Corinne from Breezeway. If you'd like to say hello again for any of the newcomers.
Yes, hello everyone. I'm really excited to be here.
Great. And if you could, in your own words, explain who Breezeway are and what they do.
Absolutely. So yeah, as Kyle said, we are a partner of Avantio's. We're very excited to be chatting with you all today. But what Breezeway is it's a complete operational software. And we work with professional managers to help them handle all of the back of house work that needs to be done. So the cleanings, the inspections, the maintenance. Folks use our system to schedule and assign the work out to their teams, but then also to have confidence that the work is being done correctly. The teams work off of custom checklists for the properties that they're at, based off of what you want them to do. They have a mobile app that they can use on their phone to complete that work and communicate with you. So it really ties all of the work that you're doing to make sure that the homes are clean and ready for those guests and are maintained well for the homeowners. It allows you to do all of that directly within one system.
Fantastic. And there's a couple of different ways that people organize cleanings. Obviously, some people have in-house teams.
Yep.
And people have external teams. Is it a platform for both of those sort of models?
It is, yeah. We can support folks who work in whatever way that their business currently operates. For those that work with the external contract cleaning company, we actually have a user level. We reference it as a service partner, but essentially you can invite the company that you work with. They then have their own account where they can add their users and distribute the work that you've assigned to the business to their team. And for those folks, there's no charge to use the system, and they just get the cleans or maintenance work that you've assigned out to them to complete, and you have visibility into how their team works. Now, that being said, sometimes when you're working with a contract company, you may only be really interacting with the supervisor. So they may choose not to pass it on to their team members. And they may just drop, they may have someone go and communicate with them in their standard way. But then that supervisor is saying, this job has been started, this job is finished. So you have that visibility that you need.
Great. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I imagine, maybe we can talk about it later, a lot more people are thinking of moving to the external cleaning company rather than employing internal house staff full time, So maybe we can look at that later.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Well, I'm going to throw it over to you now, Corinne. You mentioned a little bit about Breezeway already. So just to go through a loose agenda of the call today, you're going to show us inside Breezeway. I'm sure there are some people in the chat in the call who are already using Breezeway, and we'll talk about the new things coming and where you're going with it and adaptations you've made. But for some people in the call who maybe haven't seen Breezeway, you've got a presentation for us to show us inside the system.
Yep.
Maybe for about 20 minutes, something like that. After that, we might have a couple of questions in the questions and answers. So we encourage you guys watching the webinar to put your questions in the chat. And at the end of the call, we'll be happy to go through them and hopefully answer them the best we can.
Fantastic.
So, Corinne, I'm going to throw it over to you.
All right. So
you can kick things off.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kyle. I am going to start with a quick slide deck, and then what we'll do is we'll actually get into the system. But I wanted to set the stage a little bit about the type of work that Breezeway helps rental managers complete, because I think that this is a part of the business that has always been very important. I think now more than ever, with the year that 2020 has been, the cleanliness and safety of the homes that you oversee has become just paramount to your success, and the safety of those guests who are staying with you. So I do want to set a little bit of the stage, and then we'll actually get into the system and I can show you some of the functionality as well. So as I said, Breezeway is an operational platform to help you run your back of house operations, your cleans, your inspections, and your maintenance. We're really focused on delivering a great product that provides you guys with accountability and consistency for your team out in the field who's doing the work. Again, whether that's an in-house person or it's a contract company that you may work with. So we're really excited to be partnering, to be partners with Avantio and have the opportunity to share this, some of this information with you. So really quickly, I think, property care has certainly evolved. It's always been there. We've spent a lot of time as an industry putting a focus on the guest experience. And I think now more than ever, we're started doing a turn and a rotation to say, now we need to really look at what we're doing for the home itself. And so, there's a lot of people doing this. There are probably many companies in your market that are servicing apartments or homes. And this is a really great way to differentiate yourself, because it's super important to have that attention to detail at all times. Switch this slide here. There we go. Again, I think one of the things that's really interesting, the business that you all are in can be incredibly challenging. This has certainly highlighted some of those challenges, about how quickly you have to turn things over, how often your schedule can change with last minute bookings, the unique needs of your independent homeowners that you work with, it can be very, very time consuming, and you at times feel like you're running kind of all different directions. So, I think one thing as we started to think about this is we did a property operations survey, and I'm going to share some additional stats with you, but 98% of those respondents actually said that they plan on changing the way that they handle their housekeeping as a direct result of what's been happening in the world. So I'm going to switch a little bit. I have a really bad glare from the sun that just decided to come out. So let's look at this survey, some of these survey results, because I think they're really important for folks who want to kind of get an understanding of who took this survey. It came from professional companies in 17 countries around the world with a varying level of size. But as you start to look at these, there's a really big priority being placed on safety and the cleanliness of a home. Almost 2/3 of respondents from that survey actually think that as people are making decisions about where they're going to stay and which homes they want to book, they're looking and thinking about cleanliness maybe more than they're looking at the amenities of that home or the price or the location, because that's so important to them at this point. I know too, there's been a lot of conversation around waiting periods. How long between when a guest checks out do you send your team in? How long do you wait for the next guest to be able to check in? A lot of that was kind of driven by some of the large OTAs, the Airbnbs of the world, who were saying you've got to wait 24 or 72 hours. I thought it's really interesting that only about 60% of the respondents from this survey actually plan to implement that. And I think if we look at it now, as people have gotten a little bit more comfortable and as we've learned more about what's going on, we may even see that number be a bit lower than it was when this survey was taken. So we're going to click into this. I want to highlight just 3 slides here, and then we're going to jump into the product. But you guys are professionals. This is what you do. This is your business. To build trust with guests, you just need to use what you're already doing. You just need to make sure that the steps that you have in place for your own business are allowing you to leverage the professionalism of your company. So we've seen a lot of people communicate on the programs or the cleaning processes that they are using in their business to drive confidence with guests. Being really communicative is super important, not just when they're staying or when they're arriving at your property, but when they're making a booking. I think 68%, let me look here. I wrote it down so I didn't give you false information. 68% of people actually made updates to their website to talk about and highlight their cleaning teams and the operational processes that they have in place to drive confidence with guests. But then we're seeing a lot of additional communication pre-stay, mid-stay, helping people understand what are they going to experience when they get to where you're at. Are they going to check in? Are they doing a contactless check-in? Will you service the unit while they're there? Is there going to be a mid-stay clean, or are you going to attend to a maintenance issue that may come up? So letting people understand exactly what's happening, not only with the stay that they're going to have with you, but in your market as well, because here where we're at in the US, our state is incredibly we're still on a very much limited basis of doing things, whereas other places are not. And so it's really important to communicate with your guests about how and what they're going to expect when they come in and stay with you. We talked a little bit about this, making sure that you're really working on dialed in and very refined operations, and not just that you're communicating this with your guests, but also that you're driving confidence and comfort with your team members. I think immediately as an organization and an industry, we started talking about what do we do for guests? And we sort of forgot about the fact that the people who we work with, these folks, specifically your housekeepers and inspectors and maintenance technicians, are going into homes that have other people that we don't know what they're doing and what precautions they may have taken. So making sure that your team is comfortable and making sure that they feel like you're taking care of them is super important. The other thing, and this is something that we talk a lot about, I'm going to show you in Breezeway's system, is the ability to create checklists and workflows essentially that your team, your cleaners, or your inspectors are going to follow when they're out in the field. That will give not only you as an organization a lot of comfort in knowing that the right things are being done and that the homes are safe, but it also can give your guests that opportunity as well to understand, what is being the work that you're actually doing. And then utilizing tools. This segues nicely into going in and talking a little bit more about Breezeway. Think about how you're scheduling your work. Before, there was very little issue if a housekeeper and a quality assurance person may have been in a unit at the same time. Today, we want to eliminate overlap of people. So making sure that you're scheduling your work in a way in which reduces the opportunity for people to be in the same unit at the same time is really important. One of the ways that our clients see this is we set up workflows in Breezeway that says there's a cleaner, then there's an inspector, then there's a gardener, or whatever type of job that it may be. And as those jobs are completed, the next person is going to be alerted that it's ready for them to come in. That's something that we've had since the inception of the system, but it is also something that now more than ever is important, because now your team knows exactly that it's the unit is ready for them to head into. And I think also, as we're thinking about utilizing these tools, also providing your company with that peace of mind and that comfort of the work that is being done is incredibly important. So there are a bunch of slides on here. So for anyone that gets this deck after, you'll be able to read through and see some of the things that we're going to look at. But I'm going to actually switch our view here, and we're going to go into Breezeway's system. And I want to talk to you about some of the functionality that Breezeway offers that can help you achieve some of the things that we just talked about. So I'm logged into our account, and this is what you will see when you come into Breezeway. As Kyle mentioned earlier, we do have a direct connection with Avantio. So all of your properties will flow over to Breezeway. And then in addition to that, will your reservations. So as reservations are made in Avantio system, those flow over to Breezeway, and you can set up automated scheduling rules that mimic the process that you have today to be done. We have the ability to set those up differently based off of whether it's a guest coming into the property or an owner coming into the property. You're able to automatically schedule as far out as you like. So, we talked a little bit about the difference between your internal staff and contractors. Folks who use a contracting team may need to provide, a longer window and visibility into what's going on than folks who are using an internal staffing group to complete their work. So you essentially say, how far out do you want to schedule? What do you want to schedule? And then our system places that onto the schedule. And we have a couple different ways that we do that. But one of the ways that we do that is via this concept of drafts. And what drafts actually allow you to do is place the work and then make adjustments as you need to before you communicate that to the team in the field. So we have a bunch of different views here that allow you in this particular view to drag and drop work and start to build a day of work for your team, and seeing how much work has actually been assigned versus how long they're actually available to work in the system. Now, for anybody on the call who may work out of multiple markets, let's say you have rural properties and urban properties, we have got a bunch of filters and different functionality to help you support that. so that if you've got properties on the coast, just that team will see that, and then properties 3 or 4 hours away, the other team will be able to view those properties, and you can control the access level, which is always really great. Additionally, I'm going to just go back over to today's view by property, because I want to show you, I talked a little bit earlier about notifications. When Matt starts this job and finishes it, it will notify me. So these are notifications that are sent via email, via text. They can be push notifications through our mobile app to make sure that your team knows exactly where they should be going. We've also got a really great dashboard, which is going to provide you a really high-level overview of everything that's being done today. Again, we've got those reservations coming over from Avantio. You'll see the tasks that are scheduled. You've got a view up here of progress of how the work is being completed. And then you also have a map view. So we rely very heavily, we provide you the ability to rely on GPS of your team. So when the team is using Breezeway's mobile app to complete their work, you're going to be able to see that on a map. Now, most of our team, most of the properties that we're looking at here are in the US, but this is also supported outside of the US. And I can see that I am here. I started this job at 9:37, been working on it for 45 minutes, and I can see exactly what's going on. You're able also through this system to quickly identify any work that needs to be done and who is most closely located, that they can go and handle that for you. That becomes very powerful when we're thinking about a last minute reservation where you need to send someone to do a clean that wasn't originally scheduled, or an urgent maintenance request that comes in. You can come in and say, who is in our inspection department that I can actually go ahead and send to that property. So this can be very powerful in making sure that your day is moving along the way in which you expect it to.
So this GPS is actually reading it from the user, right? The cleaner, or it's coming from the app.
Yes, it's coming
So
from the
real
mobile
time.
app.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it also, one thing that we've heard from a lot of people is, well, this isn't, they don't work for me, or they don't want us to know where they're at night or on a day when they're not working. The GPS only tracks when they're physically using Breezeway's app.
Okay.
So that's a question that we get pretty often. Additionally, we also have a status filter here, so you can track what is the status of this home. You have the ability to automatically check people in and out. So if a guest leaves early from a property and they leave at 8 a.m. and your checkout is at 10, you're able to check them out, and it will automatically notify the cleaner so they can go in and get started early, which in many cases, especially now being important, it extends your time between turns so that you have more time to do the work that needs to be done. So that's been incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic feature, that really is, I would imagine, a huge benefit to so many people, especially when typically in Europe, the changeover days are typically Saturday and Sunday, historically, and so you have many cleans to be done in a short time period. If you can gain an hour or an hour and a half or 2 hours, that's gold. That means you can do an extra clean. And yes, fantastic, that feature. That's great.
Yeah, we're really excited. This is, if you are a Breezeway client on this call, this is new. It's new functionality that we just recently released. So if you don't have this turned on in your account, I highly encourage you to do so. And feel free to reach out to myself or your contact at the team, and we can help you do that. The other thing, Kyle, that I think is super important that I wanted to share with folks is 2 parts. One of them being, the way that Breezeway's system works is it works off of templates that are customized to the property that the work is being done at. So instead of having one very long or really generic checklist of the work that needs to be done, you build that once, and then as you go into a home for the first time, you can say, well, this property doesn't have a sleeper sofa, or there's no patio, or there's no oven, or maybe oven is a bad example. But this bathroom doesn't have a shower. It's just a powder room. And that means that all of the work that is completed at this property moving forward is actually relevant to your team. That's a big time saver as well for your staff in the field, because it's really hard to drive accountability when you're asking people to confirm they did things that aren't applicable to the home. It means that there's a lot of just check, 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 check. And it isn't really super useful in our system, because you can actually go through and tailor that work that's being done specifically to the property that you're doing the work at. It makes it very much, it makes it very user friendly. It means that the team is only being asked what they need to do, but it also allows us to run reports and to provide reports that can be shared as a link or downloaded as a PDF that you can share with your homeowners to say, hey, you made the right choice in selecting us as your property management company, because look at all of the things that we do when we go into your house, and look at all of the photos and the things that we check. And you were able to share this with them, which again really drives confidence in the decision to work with you.
So this inspection report is something that a cleaner or housekeeper has provided and done so via their app, yeah?
Correct. Yep.
So
this is for every task that gets done in Breezeway.
Sure. And as I understand it, maybe you can correct me, you can sort of mandate what is necessary, what is required. So for each property, you could say, okay, for this property, you need to send a picture of the microwave to show that it has been cleaned properly, for example, before you can almost pass to the next task, before this job is done. You know, you specify this, and this, and you need to attach a photo or indeed a video, for example, of this and that.
Absolutely. So we build this generic checklist, right? We call them a template because it becomes custom to the property. And you can say that in the kitchen, you've got to run hot and cold water to make sure that it works. In this particular instance, they're also requiring that you take a picture of the hot water or of the water running. You also can ask them to take a count. So if you're doing an inventory at a property, this is really powerful to track that. You can require photos, or you can just say, I just want you to do this, and I want you to confirm that you've done it, or answer yes, no. Now, one thing that we know, and I talked a little bit about on that slide that had all the squiggly lines, is that you're dealing with unique properties. And so the other thing that we support in here is that at the individual property level, so I'm now at this one property, I can add supplemental requirements. So this is a great way to be able to say, this owner requires, or requests, maybe is a better word, they ask us to do these 5 things at this property, or they're very particular about this one thing, or this is the only home that has a water feature, for example, or the only home that has, you know, a media room, whatever it is. You can create special requirements that are applied only when you tell the system to apply them.
So this would be on a sort of a per owner basis, right? Or a per property basis, yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good.
And then the last thing is, because you're tailoring this checklist to each property that you're going to, it's then driving what we call a kind of a property profile. This is really, really useful for things like asset management. So a dishwasher breaks, you can track things like the makes, the model, when it was installed. You can upload photos, PDFs, and documents about this. And from an asset management piece, this can do 2 things. One, it shows the owner that you know exactly what, you know, what's in their home. It also means that if you have a maintenance issue at this home, you don't have to send a technician out to find out is this a 2000 or 2020 dishwasher, or is it a 2008 dishwasher? So you can maybe prepare and provide your team more information so that they're able to be more effective and reduce some of the service calls. But it also gives you just a really robust history of the work that's been done at the dishwasher at this property historically. So you can speak to those homeowners in a way that says, I know that we've done a lot of repairs to this dishwasher. At this point, given the frequency in which it's breaking, our recommendation is that we replace that. So the asset management piece here can be really, can be very, very compelling as well. And this is, this is just done by virtue of completing work and actually using Breezeway's system.
Right, and are we able to see the view as a cleaner or a housekeeper? Have you got anything for that, Corinne, that you could show us?
I am happy. Let me switch over to our mobile app here. Give me just one second. Okay, so so this is our mobile app. You'll notice that, well, you won't notice it here, but I am on an iPhone. We have a native iOS app and an Android app. So it works on both types of devices. Any tablet or smartphone that you may be using. When I log in here, I'm seeing just the work that is assigned to me as a representative. And so this, I've got a clean, I've got a standard cleaning at this property due today. You have the ability to tell them how long it's expected to take. And it also shows when the guest is coming in or leaving or what's happening at this property today. Again, this is being pulled from the connection with Avantio. So this information is displayed to them. When I get here, when I click into the task, I can get directions, can see again, more information about the reservation, access notes. So you can provide them door codes, gate codes, alarms, anything that they may need to get into the home. And then I can start this task. And as we go through, you're able to see, here are the things that I need to do. Here I'm required to take a photo. I'm going to just go ahead and take a photo of the flowers on my desk. And then you can go through and see this. Now you might notice at the top of the page, this synced button. And I'll do a couple more here so you can see it. Breezeway's app has offline functionality as well. So if you do happen to be in an area where there isn't great service, or you may have properties that don't have great connectivity, that's not a problem because the offline functionality will support that. Through this app, you'll also be able to show them photos of how the living room should look so that they can see that. You may recognize that as, I think, the view behind me now. This is actually my house. So you can see what that home is supposed to look like. And this becomes really helpful for them, specifically if you may have new people on your team that don't know how the unit is supposed to look. Again, as we go through, I have the ability to pause if I get called away. I can come back and resume it. And when I finish all of these requirements, I'll actually be able to complete the task. So I'm just going to do this really quickly so that you can see it. But the other thing I do want to tell you as well is that when you're in the mobile app, if you find something wrong, you can click on the little wrench icon at the bottom. This will show you all of the open maintenance that has been reported but hasn't been fixed. So if you see that something has gotten worse, you can add comments or photos that will sort of bump it up and let people know that this is still an issue. Or if you found a new issue, you can report that, determine what, what department it goes to, what the issue is. It's a missing vase. I can say where it's happening. And this becomes really helpful because in really large units, you may have, 5 bedrooms, and you may not want somebody traipsing around the whole house to go and fix something. So telling them where it's at will allow you to very quickly give that person who's going in to do the work more information.
Absolutely, yes. As fewer points of contact, then the better, right? Especially now,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the last thing on this app, Kyle, that I'll show you guys really quickly is also just the supplies piece. So we know, and this sort of segues into something that we are going to be working on later this year. We know that you guys are regularly replacing and replenishing items in units. So this is a supplies list that you're able to upload, and the team can say, I replaced an air filter. This is then logged and tracked with this job. They can also add additional costs if they have to purchase something. But the supplies is something that you can then export out of Breezeway's system. And, you know, we talked a little bit about what's to come. And one of the things that is being worked on and will be available in the near future is going to be a true inventory product. So we have, you know, what's our par? We've got 50 rolls of toilet paper. When we get down to 20, notify us and let us know. So as your team is using these items in the field, it will be reducing it so that you know how much you have on hand at any point. So that inventory piece is something that is forthcoming in the system.
Fantastic. Great. Remember, guys, we've got the questions and answers session just after this. I don't see any questions in the chat room, so please, if you have a question for Corinne or for myself about the system or anything, then please put it in the chat box inside here, and we'll answer it for you. Maybe one question for you: which of the features that you've described, or maybe that we haven't covered, do you think people are really taking advantage of now more so than ever before? What about Breezeway are people really using now and getting the most out of?
Yeah,
Is it the remote scheduling aspect? Is it not having to, you know, be in a WhatsApp or be face to face? Is it the remote ability?
Yeah, I think that the remote aspect is definitely important. It's something that Breezeway system has always sort of allowed you to do, but more so than just being able to schedule and not have to have someone come in and physically get a piece of paper with their schedule on it. You know, the fact that you now have everything in one system and you have full visibility. So if something does go wrong or doesn't, you know, go as planned, which in this industry I think happens quite often because of just the nature of the business, you've got everything documented. So if you send a housekeeper out to say do a departure clean, and they get there and they say to you, this is a total mess. You know, they clearly had a party at this property. They're usually doing that via text. And then, you know, you may change the price or what you're actually going to do to pay the cleaner because of the additional work. And that sort of can be lost. So with the way that the system works, you can actually come in here and you could say, you know, John reported excessive clean is needed, adjust pay by, you know, 10%, whatever that may be. That's going to be there. It's always going to live and be associated with this. And you're going to have that back and forth as you need to. But definitely the ability to not have to physically interact with anyone has been really robust. And I would also say that the notification queuing has done two things. One, we hear all of the time that, you know, people are busy and they just forget to tell me that the house is clean. And so someone's sitting around waiting until I figure it's 2:00. They had to have cleaned it by now. I send them a message and they say, yeah, that's been done at 10. Now you're not reliant on people to communicate that things are done. By finishing and using the system is communicating that stuff is done and moving things along, allowing you to focus and work on other high priority items or issues that might be happening that day.
And you can notify the guest, right, automatically if you want to, right? I mean, if the property's cleaned, been done, been inspected, and you're fine, and it's available 3 hours before the normal check-in, you can set it up to automatically tell the guest, hey, it's available to enter, right? Or am I misunderstanding?
Not quite yet, but we're
Oh,
getting
okay.
getting there. I don't want to make any promises on that functionality quite yet, but
Okay.
we will tell you that it's ready, and then you can tell the guests if you
Okay.
allow an early
It's
check.
probably better that way anyway. Maybe.
Probably better, but you do bring up a good point, Kyle, because we all know that there can be days when a clean gets completed and then an inspection also gets completed. But during that inspection, they find a leaky toilet. Seems to be my go-to maintenance issue. But they find a leaky toilet and they submit an issue that maintenance needs to look at. By all measures, the clean is complete, the inspection is complete. That property might be considered ready, but in our system, it would actually turn to blocked because we will have said, hey, there's this issue that was reported that is going to limit that. Now, of course, as an administrator or as a supervisor, you have the ability to override that. But the system will also sort of provide you with some information and notifications about sort of the progress of the home. So even if the work is completed, if there's a maintenance issue that's been reported that meets the requirements you set up, then we'll block that so that you don't send someone to a property that may have been cleaned but has a leaky toilet.
Okay, great. Well, we have some questions now, so maybe we can run through a couple of them.
Sure.
One coming from Morvan in Barcelona, I think. We just touched on it. Can we inform a client that his or her apartment is clean and sell an early check-in?
Yeah, right now, like I said, right now you would get that notification, your team, and then they could reach out to offer that. But we do have plans to make it more automated in the future for you.
Okay, great. Another question from Maria. We would like to know if the app is only in English or are there more language options?
The mobile app currently, the system is currently available in English. That being said, we do have plenty of clients that are in, non-English speaking, not the primary language, that you do use the system. All of our checklists and information can be added in any language. So this particular one has been uploaded in both English and Spanish. And a lot of the information, including like property items and the names of rooms and things, can be updated. But the app itself is currently in English, though we do have plans to support full internationalization in the future.
Okay, great. A question linking on from that, which maybe you covered, Michael, down in Malaga. Are the templates in multiple languages? I think you just answered that.
Yeah, you can put those in any language that you choose.
Okay, great. Another question. How do you know if a client has checked out early? I think we covered that, right?
Yeah.
What does that look like, though? How is that communicated? Who communicates that? The
Yeah.
cleaner?
Well, it depends, right? Like a lot of times, specifically if you're using keys, you know that the guest is left early because the guest has returned the key to you. In that moment, and it's difficult to do. And almost every time I try to actually show it because we've passed our checkout time. But essentially, there is. Let me just show this to you. There will be. There'll be a little button here, right up here at the top, that will allow you to check a guest out. So if they've communicated to you that they've left early, or that or that they've left early because they dropped keys off, you can check them out, and then that will communicate to the cleaner. There isn't a way for today the guest to tell you that they've checked out, because this is all internal tools for your staff.
Great. Okay. Debbie, I think in the Algarve, is asking about can we notify accounts, for example, I suppose accounting people, that an additional charge will be made using the guest security deposit? So, okay, if there's been damage made, how does that sort of filter through to the money people, the accounting?
A good question.
One. Yep.
We want to know how accounting is going to know what's going on. So there are a couple of ways, Debbie, that you can do that. This is our departure page. So we would want to come in. You have different views that you can look at. So seeing everything that's not completed or overdue, or I'm going to check everything that was completed in the last 7 days. These are going to be all of our cleans that were completed. From within this, I've got a couple of ways that I can do this. One is that I can come into this particular task and I can look and I can either add it as a comment here, which is visible, or what most people do is they actually go to the task page, and they would just simply update either in the cost section or within this section. They may say that, the normal, let's say that this had a normal rate of $120 as a one-time fee. And that's what our normal cost is for this job. Mm-hmm. You could just come in and say, this is now $140 and save that. And then when accounting gets all of this information, they have the ability to just say, I'm ready to export all of these tasks. I can choose to select all 87 that were done. And when I export that, I've got 4 different reports that I can run. One of them being the payroll report, and that will indicate to your accounting team, actually any of these would indicate it, but this is probably the one I would recommend, that typically we pay 120, but on this job, it's been paying 140. And this can be exported for your team so that they can use that for actual paying of the cleaners and tracking of accounting.
Fantastic. A couple more. We'll do a couple more. Can we send notifications for both when it is inspected and also when it's been cleaned? I'm not sure. Notifications to whom? I suppose to the central. Well, you can tell me, Corinne.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, depending on what the question is, you certainly can. Depending on who you're looking to notify, each user has got their own notifications that they can set up for themselves. I am obviously an administrator in this account, so I can get notified across every department. But you can get notified whenever a cleaning is started, finished, whenever there's an issue reported, as well as whenever there's a comment left. Right. Actually, I know this isn't the question, but I should touch on this because we talked about this a little earlier, Kyle. If you work with an external partner, there is functionality to set them up so that they have to accept a job and or decline it if they can't do it. So if you're using that functionality, which you can set up at the user level, you can also get alerted if they accept a job, if the job expires, if they've declined it as well. So there are a lot of additional alerts that you as a supervisor can receive.
Okay, a couple more questions. Imran in Cardiff.
Hi,
everyone knows Imran? Does the cleaner get a push notification for early checkout? So a push notification to the cleaner for early checkout, or do they need to open the app and check?
If you do the process of checking the guest out, then yes, they will get that notification. Again, based off of the preferences that they have set up. So if they've only selected to get it via email, that's how they'll get it. But they can also get it via SMS and push.
Okay, so as long as you've said that the checkout has been done, then the cleaner can get the automatic notification. Great. James in Switzerland, could the system be made to allow comments to be added to tasks while they are still in the draft and not yet published? Ooh, I think that's an improvement, maybe suggestion there.
Okay, I was like, you might have stumped me. I don't know if you can add a comment. Let's look. We're gonna do this live. We're all gonna find this out together. I don't know the answer.
I love these parts of the demos.
Surprise! Yep. All right, this is a draft. It does not look like I am able to add a comment. I can edit the description of the task in a draft status, but does not look like I can add a comment until the task is actually created.
Okay, one for the technical people there then.
We'll add that down. We'll add that to the list.
Okay. And one more question. We'll do last question. Well, we'll do two more questions. Maria says, when we do a checkout in Breezeway, does it synchronize with Avantio and vice versa?
Not right now. As I mentioned earlier, this property readiness is a new feature. We have a pretty cool part of the system called Labs. Labs is where some new functionality goes when it's ready to be released, but we know that there are additional improvements that clients are going to want. So Maps is a great example. We added that. We've got one more piece of functionality we're building into it. And then this will go live for everybody. So folks who do want to take advantage of some of these things in advance of all of the bells and whistles, they can do so via Labs, and that's where this readiness status is. So the plan today is to have this live for probably a month or so, gather feedback and make any additional improvements, and then the plan is to start pushing the status back into our partners when we're able to do that. So so it doesn't do it today, but that's definitely something that we are looking to do in the future.
Okay, fantastic. So one for the future. Okay, last question, promise, is how much does Breezeway cost? Which is always a difficult one to answer because I suppose it will depend. So maybe I could sort of change the question and say, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find out more about Breezeway and your fees and maybe the pricing model? Maybe you could give us an indication anyway, how best to get in touch with you, do a personalized demo, etc.
Absolutely. I'm gonna switch the share here just so everybody has my contact information. So give me just 1 second. And that way you'll have my information. So my email address is on here. My contact information is definitely here. Feel free to reach out to me directly. I actually oversee our client experience team, so I don't work on the sales team specifically. I did do that for 3 years of being at the company, so I know the answers, but I can happily connect you with someone on the team who can provide more information, more custom pricing for you. As a general rule of thumb, we charge a monthly per unit fee, and that gives you full access to the system. With that, you get all of the things that we've talked about, but you also get unlimited users, tasks, reports, etc. So it's a monthly per unit fee.
Great. And the final question, which is related, can we assign only some of our properties to Breezeway and not all of them? If you've got 100 properties in Avantio or another system, can you just choose the ones that you want to use with Breezeway?
Yes. So that can be handled in a couple of different ways. Usually, I believe, and Kyle, maybe you, I can't remember the exact answer here. Well, one of two things happens. Either you select the properties in Avantio to send over to us, and then those are all that display, or we get everything from the connection and we just make those that you choose not to have active right away inactive. So whether you select them in the Avantio system or whether we get them all, we can easily make properties inactive.
Okay, great. Well, that answers the question then. Yeah, you can control that. From our side, from Avantio's side, there's no charge at all for any Avantio customer using Breezeway. If you are going to sign up with Breezeway and trial it or become a customer, then I believe you need to contact us, contact our support team and ask for the connection key, and then we send it over to you, and then magically it all happens, right?
Yeah, you log in and all of your properties and reservations are already loaded up. And then we do have a customer support team. We do personalized trainings with all of our clients and help you make sure that the system is set up exactly how you need it to be.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we're really pleased and to have you guys as a partner. I know quite a few of my own customers use Breezeway and they're very happy with it, and it has really helped them to automate and make a difficult task a lot easier in many respects. So It's been fantastic having you with us, Corinne. It was a great presentation on Breezeway. It's a very powerful tool, and it's always hard to condense something into a short period of time. So well done for that. I hope it's proved helpful to everyone. So yeah, if you're interested, guys, in learning a bit more about Breezeway, you have the website down there, breezeway.io. And of course, if you're not a client of Avantio and you're looking at PMSs, at channel managers, then please do feel free to talk to us. You can talk to us in Italian, Spanish, French, German, Portuguese, pretty much anything. So you don't just have to talk to me. So yeah, once again, thanks everyone who has joined us today, and thanks for sticking with us. I hope it's been really helpful. I think, Corinne, you might send out the presentation deck, or it is available for people who want it.
Yeah, happy to share this with folks. So you can, we'll probably, I know that you guys are going to send us the list, so that we'll have that. We can I'm sure that our marketing team will send it out, but if you want it more quickly, just drop me a line, and I will get it out to you this afternoon. So, but yes.
Okay, great. Yes. Just as a final comment, we have the email address of everyone who's been here today. So we will, I believe, send a follow-up sort of thank you email with, Corinne's contact details and perhaps a link to that PowerPoint presentation in there, so you can look at it in your own time. So once again, thanks everyone. Been great to have you here this afternoon. Thank you to Corinne.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody for attending. Kyle, thank you for having us. This is great. We're really excited about our partnership with you all, and